What's going on? My name is Marcus Whitley, and this is Good Behavior. Now, you can find me on all social media at I am Marcus Whitley and find any of my books, Both Sides of the Street, Choices and Consequences, Greatness Under Pressure, and Battling Demons, all on Amazon. Now, in this episode, I want to talk about legacies. What do you plan on leaving behind for your kids? Let's be real. We all know that we're not going to be here forever. So, how do you want to be remembered? What are you doing with your time right now that'll even make you be remembered? I want you to think about that. Are you making the most out of your time right now? Or are you doing things with selfish intentions? Because honestly, a lot of people do that and don't even realize it. But by selfish intentions, I mean, are you dumping your kids off on somebody else and going out to the club or partying or going on vacation all the time by yourself or with somebody else instead of being with your kids? That's selfish. That's You might think that's trying to live your best life, but what kind of impression are you leaving on them? I mean, as much as you don't want to believe it or may not even think about it, they will remember this. It don't matter how young they are. That's something they won't forget. Once you have kids, your wants aren't a priority anymore. It ain't about you. You need to realize that. I mean, maybe I think differently because I always wanted a kid, but I just knew that when I was younger, I wasn't ready. I had too much going on. I was too busy being reckless and running the streets thinking I was gonna be making all this money. And with that kind of mindset, I had no business trying to have a kid right then. So I'm glad that it didn't happen for me and I didn't slip up. But when I was in prison and I had years to reflect on my life and get my mind right, I realized that I knew exactly what I wanted. And I felt like when I get out, I knew what I had to do if I wanted to make that happen. Now, having nothing but time helped me prepare myself for when the time came, if it came, that I had a child. Because I started saving money, well, the little bit of money I was making up in there. Um, I mean, even though it wasn't much, being in there for years, it added up. Plus, I was still collecting royalty checks from my music. So I was able to put a good amount away. And I had that set aside in case, well, not in case, I had that set aside for when that time came, I wouldn't be caught off guard or I wouldn't have to struggle to be able to provide for my kid whenever my kid was born. But when that time actually came, 5 years after I got out, I didn't even end up touching that money because my mindset shifted to that money now is going to be my son's when he gets older. And at that point, I started working even harder, trying to provide for a new baby, buying a house for him to be able to grow up in. Cause I was not trying to live in an apartment with him. I wanted to show him I wanted to give him the best life and show him as he grew up like this is what it means to be a man. This is what you do. You're a provider. And I wanted him to grow up comfortable and know that this was his home. And I was also setting money to the side, adding on to the money that I had already set aside for him. But the amount of working that I had to do to make all of this happen was taking time away from being with him. It was tough because I thought I was doing the right thing, but you never know, honestly, what the right thing is, or if there even is a right thing. All I could think about was getting him rich before I die. Like, that was all that mattered to me. Like, all right, but hold up. When I say that I wanted to get him rich before I die, I don't just mean financially. Like, I mean with connections that I've made throughout my life, that I was able to build relationships with people. I want to be able to pass down to him and teach him how to be a good person and keep strong relationships. And also, I wanted to be able to teach him everything that I knew, including different skills that I've learned. So he would have knowledge, connections, and be financially stable. That's what I mean by rich. And I mean, but don't get me wrong. Like, we would take day trips or little weekend trips to travel different places, meet different people, and just do different things. But when we did that, I was always working. Like, I didn't know how to turn it off. I was out there grinding, selling books, networking, anything that I could do. And that's something that it took a long time to be able to turn off sometimes and just be in dad mode, because all I know how to do is work. It wasn't until I seen this video, right? This video on Instagram that made me think. Like, for real, that video opened my eyes. And it made me look at things differently. And like, I'm not gonna lie, like, that video hit me. It made me realize that it's cool that I'm saving all of this money, but when I'm gone, what memories is it gonna have of me? Other than dad was always working, or dad never had time for me. Now, man, ever since I seen that video, I've been watching it at least once a week, every week, to remind me what's important in life. Because, check it, life is about creating memories. And like I said, watching that video was like a reality check. Now, I know I keep talking about it, but I'm going to let you know why it hit me so hard. Because he said, when you die, only a handful of people will remember you. And when they think of you, they're going to think about, oh, you remember that time that we did this, or you remember that time that we went here, or you remember that time that this happened and that happened, or we did this. They're not going to remember the money that you put away for them, or all the working you had to do this. They're going to remember the times that you spent together, because that's what's going to be most important. And if you did it right, then that's something that will carry on with them, and they'll do with their kids. And maybe they'll tell their kids stories about you. That's your legacy. And that's how I want to be remembered. I'm not worried about how many likes I get, how many views, how many comments I get. None of that's important to me. And that's not what I want to be remembered for. I just want my son to know that I tried my best and to think that I'm a good dad. That's what's important to me. It's bad enough that depression runs in the family and all of these other things that are going to be a struggle for us. So I'm just hoping by creating all of these memories that those memories will outweigh the depression and everything else, and it'll break the cycle. Now, I don't know if I'm doing it right, or I don't know if it's good enough, but I just know that I need to do something because I want him to be able to have the best life, and I want him to have the best memories of me when I'm not here anymore, or even while I'm still here. I didn't have anybody to look up to when I was growing up to show me how to do this or show me what to do. All I know is I wanted to be better. That was the only thing on my mind growing up was I gotta be better. I want to give my kid a better life than I've had. I want to give him everything that I didn't have. I mean, I turned out good and I've accomplished so many things, but I would never allow myself to let him travel the road that I did to get to where I'm at. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. It took a lot for me to get here. But family means everything to me. Like I said, I don't care about the likes. I don't care about the attention. I don't care about the validation. Like, none of that means nothing to me. When I die, none of them are going to remember me. I won't mean nothing to nobody. That's why all that matters to me is my family and the ones that are closest to me. Now, I hope this episode was able to shine light on what a legacy really is, instead of what people assume they are or want them to be. It's a lot deeper than that. And you need to think about what's important to you. Now, my name is Marcus Whitley, and this is Good Behavior. So until the next episode.